Hi guys, this is Naya with On a Divine Note. We just wanted to add in a trigger warning into this episode. We will be discussing very sensitive topics such as domestic violence, mental abuse, and sexual abuse. So viewer discretion is advised, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
At On a Divine Note, we explore a wide range of topics that nourish the soul and body.
From healing and wellness to relationships and spirituality, we dive into the mind, self-care, trauma, love, and so much more.
Join us as we create a space for growth, connection, and holistic well-being. Welcome to On a Divine Note.
Welcome back to On a Divine Note. I'm Naya.
I am Bia.
And I'm Shira.
Yes, and today we are going to be finishing off our series from last week, Storytime, with another one of our very own, the beautiful, the amazing Bia.
Bia!
Sasha, go ahead. Give you
Hey, just hop right in.
We hopped right in my mind.
We hop right in.
Right in.
Well, I guess. Hey, y'all. So today, you know what? I'm actually going to start off with where I am today.
I love that.
And then where, kind of go backward.
Okay.
So today I am a proud mother of two, a girl, a woman, and a man. 2 grandbabies, a little girl about to be 2 months, and a grandson that's 7. And they are the love of my life. I am a business owner. Business is called Peaceful Healing. Motivational speaker, book author, Step Out on Faith. Faith is my book. Life insurance and investor. Oh my goodness, I wear so many hats.
Yes.
Play director, thrown in play director, I should say. Thrown in play director. And honestly, I am a person that just love to see people's dreams come true. So I hear your plan. I hear what you say. I see the smile on your face. You get excited about it, and I execute. I get the team, and I execute. So that's who I am. So that's who I am today. But I wasn't always this person. Okay, so let's kind of take it back, all the way back to the beginning, till about 12 years old. So about maybe 11, 12 years old, come from a beautiful mom, home where it was just lovely. My mom was just so loving and caring, and she was that one where she was so positive. And I feel like that's where I get it from today, right?
Yeah.
She was so positive. Everything was just so bright. The house was bright. Like, I'm telling you, you wake up in the morning, you have the windows open. You have the birds chirping. And she had birds. And
Wow.
she loved to hear the birds chirp. She had a green thumb. So she would just always be planting her flowers. And I'm telling y'all, food was ready. It was on the table when it was time to go to school. Oh my goodness, everything. She was so creative. She played with us all the time. And I had a lot of dreams as a kid. I actually wanted to be an actress and a singer. And that was one of my biggest things. And I would go to I said, Mom, when I get older, when I go to high school, if I could go to the School of the Arts, Baltimore School of the Arts. And she was like, yes, I'll get you in that school. And I was so excited about that. And I would just watch her. And watching her just made me feel like alive, And I had other siblings that lived in the household at the same time. It was probably like my sister and my 2 brothers who lived in the same time. Well, she treated all of us equally. And with homework time, we couldn't watch TV at a certain time. We had to do our homework. We weren't able to just go and just eat anything that we want. It was a schedule.
That old
we were
school.
kids, we were kids, so we wanted to go outside and play, and we wanted to have fun. And one day it was time for school, and we woke up, and I was just so excited. Like my mom she comes up in the room, she wake us up, and it was just always exciting. And she was at this particular day, she was kind of looking at us weird, if I should say weird, just like that. I don't know, it was like I know something's going to happen type of thing. But she was fine. And, it was just that she did our hair, the normal things, eat breakfast, we did our hair, laughed around, fight, brothers and sisters, the normal thing. And when we said goodbye that day, we said, "We see you later, Mom," and everything. And we went to the school. Probably about an hour or two. I remember I was in middle school, just got to middle school in the 6th grade. And we got a call from the principal's office and said for myself and my siblings to come to the office. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited. We get to get out of school today. I was so happy. Like, yes, we get ready to go home. And so I see my brothers and sisters, but my dad was standing there. And I said, my dad. Now, my dad was there, but I would have just thought it would have been my mom, because my mom always was the one that was just always around. And he was sitting there, he said, "Your mom's in the hospital." I'm like, oh, God, is she okay? Like, what's happening? But I didn't panic, because I was always that person that just felt like everything is going to be okay, And we got to the hospital, and once we got there, it was too late. She was gone. She died. And that was the moment in my life when everything went to hell. I didn't react, because I still was in disbelief. But I was angry. I was so mad at everybody. And the craziest part about it is I was mad at her. Probably like, why are you mad at somebody that can't help that they was called home? But I didn't understand that. I'm 12 years old. Where did you go? Why would you leave us? And it was just so painful and so hurtful, and that's how I lived my life, in pain. Just for years and years and years, I just lived my life in pain and just anger. It wasn't hatred. I was angry. Then I started feeling like it was my fault at a point in time, because I am a person that have sight. I see things before it happen. I'm not a psychic. I don't even claim that, but I see a lot of things before it happen. And I told her, I kept having these dreams that, Mom, you're going to die. I seen it. And I would just always come in her room in the middle of the night, and I would sit there and I would just listen to her heart. Or sometimes I'll go over and listen to her nose to see if she's breathing.
Wow.
And one day she said, "Girl, what are you doing?" And I said, "Mom," and this dream I had every night, repeated dream. And I said, "Mom, I said, you're going to die." And she says to me, she looked right at me, dead on. She said, "I know." And she said, "But it's okay, because I'm going to be here with you. I'm going to be here with every one of you once I'm not here. But it's okay." From that moment, I stopped having the dreams. And then, as you see, she died. So as we came home and as life started happening, we went home from the hospital, the house was dull. It was dull. It was almost like, it was so dark in there. It was no presence of light anymore. It was no presence of this angel that was here on earth with us. It was no more. The walls became dull. Seemed like it was dingy. We started living with, my dad was not there. He was in and out, going to different places. So little backstory on that, it was multiple women. And we grew up as in a Muslim household. So it was one of those things where it was women and kids. And I hated that. And I didn't understand it, because I felt like maybe if my mom, and I blame my dad too. And he knows this, though. He knows this till this day. And we talked about it all the time. It wasn't his fault, but I blamed him, because I felt like maybe she died from heartache and pain. Maybe she died from wanting love that she wasn't getting from you. Like, she was a person who can give so much and give. But it was never, to me, what I seen in a home. I never seen it received. And so I was angry. And once that moment happened, we had to, my uncle and aunt came to stay at the home. And they lived with us to take care of us, but they couldn't do much because they were addicts. They were on drugs. And for some reason, we left that house and we went to go live with my uncle and my auntie at another auntie's house. And I just remember sleeping on the floor and just, it was so hard and it was so cold and we were so lonely. And I would just cry every night. And I was just like, why? This cannot be life. Like, it's no way in the world it could be like this. So I started becoming numb and numb and numb every day. I just was numb. And don't know where my father was. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. I just know that I didn't have anybody that loved me anymore. The love that I received from her, I never had anybody that loved me anymore. So eventually we just started going house to house to house to house to house. My mom brought us everything. We had, it's almost like, in my eyes, it was riches because we had so much. But then we were so poor. The things that my mom brought us is all we had. Now, as we grow, and I'm 12, my brother is 6'5". So you can only imagine how tall he was getting with high waters and shoes are ripping off his feet and just not eating, just because it's too many mouths to feed. And it was rough. And I just remember just like, I hate it. I'm leaving. I don't like it. I'm just so disgusted with it. And I started just, as we moved around a lot, we got put out of a many homes and a many homes and a many homes. Every year I went to a different school from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up to the 12th grade. Wow. I went to a whole different school every year. Met new people every single year. All I wanted was just to be like in a home and it be clean and it be cozy and it's food that we can go to the refrigerator and eat and I would just admire my friends who had that but then I would be talked about a lot because I did not have. So if I tried to dress like everybody else dressed, but I couldn't because I didn't have it. So I started drinking a lot. I'm 14 years old. And I'm telling you, I'm 14 years old. And I had no guidance. My dad would allow us to go where we actually lived in, and this was all in the 80s, y'all, now. We lived in Cherry Hill. So it was actually, my mom died in 89. So we lived in Cherry Hill, and this probably was about 90, 91. And about a year after my mom passed away, I would just go to different homes and houses of just people who, just kids that can just do anything that they wanted to do. They didn't have a structure, and I'm like, wow, like you don't realize it. Like I used to be like, man, Mom, you always tell us come in the house. We always gotta do that. But when you see the structure mattered, the structure mattered. Yeah. She knew, like, this is how I need my kids to live. And it was like she already, I can't even explain. I wish I could, put it in words, but it's like she made sure that we as children had what we deserved and what we needed. And my dad would just allow us to go anywhere. Are you going to this person's house? I don't know if he even knew what was going on or how he knew whatever. He had his own life. He was on his own thing. He had his own, whatever it was he was doing. I don't know it. But what I know is I was outside wee hours in the night, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, sleep all day, smoking weed after weed after weed after drinking Cisco. And if
At
anybody
14.
know what Cisco is, that boy, it's the heart, man. Woo! And it was strong. And just out there fighting and just angry. And just started hopping homes. And fast forward a little bit, I hopped homes a lot, and I actually was really close with my uncle and aunt. Well, I lived in their home, period, because I had 3 cousins that I was really, really close with. And I lived in their mom and dad. Well, their dad really, he actually stopped. My uncle, he actually stopped drugs. And he did start, he'll make sure that me and my daughter was okay. But at the end of the day, but before I even say about my daughter, I actually gotten pregnant at a very young age. By high school, I was 17 and pregnant. And the guy who I was pregnant by, he was just the love of my life. I just loved him to pieces. Oh, my goodness. And we had a child. And she was like the best thing that ever could have happened to me, because the love that I got from my mom was the love that she showed me. It was unconditional love. The way she looked at me was just like, you are special. And that's all the love I've ever wanted. I've always just wanted the same love that I'd never gotten again in life. And so I know I'm skipping around the story, but I know my story can be pretty long. But I do want to say, at this time, young mother in high school, living in a home with maybe 16 of us at the time. 16 siblings, 21 of us. We all lived in, it was like two separate homes. It was a chunk in one side and a chunk on the other side. And then I had my brothers and sisters, my two brothers that lived in Baltimore with their mom, because they still had that mom. And then the time that my mom passed away, my other three siblings, their mom left. So my dad was actually stuck with 6 kids with no mom. And so I can only imagine how that would feel, you know. And then we had our stepmom, who was young at the time, and she couldn't deal with that. But at the time, I didn't understand it. I just was like, you are evil, you know. I was so mad at her. But at the end of the day, she was young. She didn't know what was going on. But here I am. I brought another child into the home. And I got pregnant. And I did graduate from high school. And once I graduated from high school, I said, you know what? Because I never wanted to be a statistic. I never wanted to be that person that that black community. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. Please do not say that. But for me, I wanted more from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be the one that had a child on Section 8 and had food stamps.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that's what the community looked like. And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to do more. And I wanted to have more. So I was on bed rest with my lovely child for the whole time. It was nerve-wracking, and but I had to do that because of something where my water, I wasn't holding the water or something like that, something in the pelvic, something was going on. Anyway, so I was on bed rest for the whole about 8 months, maybe 7. I was in the hospital first, and I was on bed rest. So I was out of school, but while I was out of school, I actually had homeschool. So they actually came and homeschooled me. And then from there, I went back to school and I graduated. I didn't graduate till I was 19, but I was determined I would not stop school. And then from that point, everything just started spiraling out of control. I did have my child. I was with her dad for a good little while, be with him for some time. And that wasn't the best situation. We were very young, and he was to the extreme abusive, really abusive, where his jealousy just took over him. Honestly, it looked like the whole devil inside of him. Now, I've seen the devil twice in my life when I saved through in people, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that a little in the end. But I seen him, and I would see it. He would blink out, and he would beat the crap out of me. All I remember is my face would be like, it was almost like my jaw was broke. It was like I couldn't, my nose. And what he would do was he would seclude me. We would be all like, not secluded. Yeah, I guess secluded.
Like isolated.
Isolate. So he
Yeah.
isolated me. I would live with him. He'll sit there when monitor my phone calls with my friends and family. Never told my brothers and sisters. Never told anybody. I don't know why. Because it's like I knew I wasn't ready to leave him yet. That was the craziest thing in my head. Like, what is wrong with you, girl? So I sat there and I dealt with that abuse because I loved him. From the abuse, from the cheating, from everything. It was a mess. From all of that, I dealt with it. And then the last straw was just like, no, I can't do this anymore because now I have a little girl and I don't want her to see or go through the things that I had to go through. And I want her to see that you have to be strong. You cannot deal with this. This is repugnant behavior and it's not right. So it was the last straw. So before the last straw, it was out with some of the other mothers because it was a lot of brothers. My daughter comes from a family with maybe about maybe 7 or 8 brothers, I believe. I don't know, no girls, but all boys. And so they all had girlfriends. But anyway, I went with her, and we went outside and took the kids to the playground or whatever. I guess I came back too late. And he beat the crap out of me because he pulled down my underwear. And he said, if he smelled me because he thought that I was outside having sex with another man with my daughter. And I'm like, what? It was weird. So last straw was, it was actually New Year's Day. And I had said to myself, I said, no more. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing it anymore. He called me upstairs. He was irritated. He was frustrated. And he just started hitting me. And that's this day. I said, you know what? No. So I took this plate and I just slapped it across his head. It broke on his head. And I was so scared after I did it, but I would not stop fighting because I knew if I stopped fighting him that it was going to get, he was going to get the best of me. Mm-hmm. He's a man. He got the best of me. And it was so bad where my daughter, of course, heard him. And she ran up the steps and he started I had to grab her and save her. So I kind of went into this little hole in his room. And I just took my daughter and I just held her. And I would just take the beatings because I didn't want him to make a mistake and hit you. Mm-hmm. So I just had my hand over my head and I was just, it was so pain. This pain was beyond. I mean, from somebody kicking you in your head and punching you in your head and punching you and punching you and punching, and I'm screaming. And to be honest with you, it took a lot of screams because his mom and his brothers would hear the beatings, and I guess they just thought it was a normal beating. And then so the mom came upstairs, and that's when she said, "Stop hitting that girl," and screaming at him. And he turned around and he pushed her. And he started trying to wrestle her. And then that's when the brothers came upstairs because it's their mom now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, it's your mom. So they told me, run. I ran, went to the room and locked our door, called the police. But for some reason, when the police came, I couldn't press charges. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
You loved them.
Still loved them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could not press charges. I wanted to so bad, but I couldn't. And they finally got me out of the house, and something happened. At this time, they were called hacks, and the use is like where you wave a car down. We have Uber and stuff like that now, but you would wave a car down like hitchhiking, right? And they came and they got in the car, and his brother actually walked way up the street. His brother said, "Hey, can you take me back down the street?" I kept screaming, like, "Please do not take him back down the street. Please just walk down there." He said, "It's cold." I said, "I don't care. Just leave. Do not, please, please, please do not take him down the street." He did. Your father runs out the house. My boyfriend at the time ran out the house. Started chasing the car down. Just started chasing the car down. The car stops. I kept screaming at him, "Please, don't stop. Don't stop. I don't want no trouble. You don't want no trouble. Get me out of here. You see I have this little baby in my hand. You see this man is coming running at me in rage. And you still say don't stop. And you stop. What is wrong with you?" So he stopped the car. My boyfriend opened up the car door. "Shiva, you fell out on your face," and he ripped me out that car and dragged me up that street by my hair.
Wow.
And that was the last straw. I said, no more will I even let another person do anything bad to me. Never let a man hit me again. Never let a man hit me again. Then we'll fast forward because that was a home that I was staying in, So I'm like, okay, now I'm just hopping from home to home. And every home that I went to, people treated me and my daughter like crap. It was the worst. And so it was just to the point where I was just so lost. So because I knew I didn't really have an actual home to go to, and I just vowed to myself that I was never going back with my dad. Mm-hmm. I would take the beatings, I would take anything, but I will never go back into that home because that's how much I despised it. Once I actually went to started living house to house, I started living with like a home girl here and stuff like that. I would actually let my daughter go over to my sister's, or she'll go in between my sister and her dad. And so this is a time that my daughter was acting weird one day, and I said, "Why are you acting?" Every time I would touch her down there, she would just be, "Ow, ow," and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" And she would never say anything, never say. I said, "What is wrong with you?" So I called my sister. I said, "Hey, something ain't right. Something is not right." I said, "Could you please talk to this year, or talk to her? I need you to talk to her because I don't know what's going on." And I was getting so scared, like, what's happening? So she says that she was touched by her uncle. And her uncle is beyond way older than her. He was a teenager, knowing way to be touching some 4 or 5-year-old. And he touched her, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take her to the doctors. We went to the doctors, and they said that she definitely was penetrated. It was broken. Whew. Let me tell y'all. That day, I left from the doctor's office. I took my daughter to a safe place. I left from the doctor's office, and I went over to their home. I bust in that door, and I just started screaming, "Where is that little mom?" I went off. The mother like, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You mother ever." I'm cussing her out, cussing everybody out. Your father at the time, he was wherever he was. And I was enraged. And I seen the little boy, and I ran in his room, and I took him by his neck. And he was red as heck because I was about to kill this mother freaker. I was angry. I was so mad. She's like, "Get off of him. Get off." I turned around like I was ready to fight her.
I can only imagine.
Furious. And he comes home. Or I guess he hear what's going on. That he wasn't too far away. And he comes and "What is wrong with you? Hey, he would never do that. He would never do that." And he didn't believe her. He didn't believe my daughter. When he didn't believe my daughter and nobody believed her, I said, okay, number one, this happened because of me, because I wanted to go out there and I wanted to, still have fun. This is what I'm doing to myself. I know better now. I'm beating myself up like I'm out here partying, having fun, and thinking my daughter's okay, and this, that, and the third, and da-da-da-da. And every time I heard the story, and that's your story to tell. I won't tell exactly what he did. And she'll tell you that story on her time. But every time I heard the story, I got so mad. Oh my God. I was enraged. I cried and cried and cried. And then from that point, I wouldn't let her go.
Yeah.
It was almost like she was glued to the hip. She was already my baby. She was already glued to the hip. She was breastfed, and just started breastfeeding her till like 3 years old.
Oh,
God,
I know that.
Yes, she was breastfed for a long time. So we was always connected in every way. And then when we would start living into different people's homes and stuff like that, I would just see the way that people would treat her, how they would treat me. And then it was just one of the last straws of living in someone's home. I went to one of my brother's home, and my big brother. So the one thing about my big brother, he is beyond just amazing. He's always got my back. He's always had my back, even as kids. He would just always have my back, no matter what. For him to be as young as he was, and honestly, we're not even that much far from me. And it was just so funny, but he always had my back. And he would always be so positive. So he is who I always looked up to. And his sister allowed us to come and stay with her, and we were there, and it was a pretty cool situation. It wasn't horrible. The house was pretty decent. I did sleep in the same room with my brother, but it was like their mom. Now, mind you, me and her today, oh, that's my girl. I love her. But what she was acting like, how she treated me back then, I didn't understand it. I was just like, why are you so mean to me? Why is it that as soon as I walk in the door, you're just so evil to me? What am I doing so wrong to you? And I was pregnant with my son. And that's why I was pregnant with my son. And we were... she had made this really big dinner. I mean, it was like big. Like she made macaroni. She hooked it up. And I was like, I'm pregnant from my first trimester. I'm hungry as heck. I'm sleepy as ever. And I'm just like, oh God. Like, and I'm already just like confused and not knowing what to do. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Had no money in my pocket. So food was done and I see everybody eating and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to eat. And I go down there and I eat. And she says, wait a minute, I got to make sure everybody else eat. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went upstairs and I was like, all right, that's cool. Come back downstairs and I promise you, it was scrapings. It was scrapings. It was nothing. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, why could somebody be so mean? And I just went upstairs and I said, you know what, forget it. It's okay. I'm going to be fine. And you would always tell when something was wrong. She could always tell when something was wrong. And the little bit that I did get, I gave to my daughter. And she would say, Mom, no, you got to eat too. And I'm like, it's okay. I promise you it's okay. So my little brother came home and he was eating his food. And I went in there and I sat on this bed and I said, hey, can I have some? And he says, what? You right? He's like, what you talking about? Can you have something? Did you eat? And I was like, no, I mean, all the food was gone. I mean, she made food for the neighbors. I said, no, all the food was gone. He said, what? He got pissed. Because, see, my brothers, one thing I would say about my brother Pop and my brother Sorton, I got a lot of brothers and I love them all, but they didn't play about me. And he gave me his food. He was furious. And next thing I know, it was a big mess. He confronted her. It was a lot that went down. And I left. And when I left there, I went to another home. I went originally back with my stepmom, Wendy. I went back with her. She allowed me to come into her home. Went in there. It got, stomach getting big, in there with the kids. Everything was cool. I had my own room. Everything was good. And one day, one thing about me, I'm a go-getter. So I had to go out there and work. I had to do something. I had to go to school. I had to do training. I had to do something. I'm not a person that can sit around because I'm just not like that. So I came home one day. I came home from school. That's where I was. I was in school. And I came home one day and my baby brother, he said, and he was just being a kid. I think at the time, he probably was about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Like, guess what? Bia, we moving. And I said, oh, yeah. And he was like, yeah, we moving. And you, what did he say? I still remember till this day. He said, we moving. And Mommy said, you can't come. It's just us. Ha, ha. And he was just a kid. And I was just like, okay. That was it for me. Damn if somebody was going to put me out again.
Yeah.
That day, I got on the bus. And I went downtown. And all I remember, it was like a courthouse or something I was in, and they place you in shelter. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care where I go. I'd be damn if somebody else do me wrong. And I went there, and I talked to this man named Mr. Williams. I swear I wish I could find him till this day. And I talked to Mr. Williams, and I said, Mr. Williams, I said, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And I'm just like teary-eyed, and I don't know what to do. And I said, I'm a good person. I'm telling him, I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm talking to him. And he said, you know what? Hold up. And he said, he goes out and he talked to somebody. He come back in. He said, listen to me. He said, I can put you in a shelter. And I could put you in the shelter where it's beds. He said, but I'm not going to do that to you. He said, because it's something that's telling me that it's something about you, young lady, that I'm going to pull some strings for you. And I was like, really? He said, but I need you to go today. He pulled some strings for me. I wound up at I think it was the YWCA downtown on Franklin Street, and it was a room, and it had a key, and we had to share a bathroom. And I went back, and I said, okay, I gotta go. Everything that was there, I left it. I took my kids and I left, and we lived in this shelter. My son turned 1 year old in that shelter. Had his birthday party. And that's where we went back, is to that shelter. And I'm trying not to cry because that was tough. I have not lived this in a long time. Oh my God. And it was so many scary people there. These women were scary. Oh my God. And it was so scary. I was so scared. And I didn't know what to do. I had no clue, but I just knew something got to give. I was scared. But every day, and we had, it was like, we had to do chores, and we had to, we had time where we could use the phone and stuff like that. We had time when we would have, you go eat and stuff like that. And most of the time I just wouldn't even eat there. I just would try to go outside, and I'll leave for the day, and then I'll come back. And we had to be back at a certain time. It was just so cold. Every day we got up at 5 in the morning. My daughter was at this time first or second grade, I believe. So what's that? Maybe is that 6 something?
Yes.
First grade, I think you.
I was in first grade. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe about
6,
5,
7.
6. 7, well, okay. And so she was. We went to our shelter was downtown, so I had to take the bus. I had to walk maybe a mile to get on the bus with a stroller. It's cold outside, freezing, with a stroller, and I would take my daughter back to the house that we lived in, at my stepmom's. Take her to school, drop her off at the school, get in a cab, take my son to the daycare provider, which was on the kind of like the other side of town, but not too bad. Maybe about 15 minutes away from school, 20, and driving. Sorry, and he, I'll drop him off, go back, get on the bus, take the bus back downtown where I started, because I went to school right there down the street from where the shelter was. I did that every day for months, and I wouldn't stop. I started getting jobs, working at little puny jobs, going to school. I said, this has got to give. And then one day, I just remember I was in the phone room. It was a day, it was raining, it was cold. Nobody could come and really get me from the shelter. And I was just sitting there, and I was in the phone room trying to talk to family. And then this one young lady came in there, and she would just talk to me. And I don't even know why I was in so much pain and I was going through so much, but I was so uplifting to everybody. And I don't understand how I did it. And the next thing I know, I'm in there talking to this young lady, and it was a crowd. That was my very first speaking engagement. The very first, it was a crowd.
In the shelter.
In the shelter.
Wow. From
there, the lady, her name was Miss Sanders. I wish I knew where she was at today. She called me in the office. She said, I don't do this. She said, but you are different and you're very special, and I need to help you. And I feel led to help you. She did. She took me to this place of these women. It was 3 women, and these women were just amazing. And they was like, we can help you find a place, but the thing was, they could find you an apartment. They pay for the apartment for the year, and then once you get on your feet, then they will still help you. They'll find you another apartment, but then you'll pay, but they'll also pay as well. So this was a great charity thing that they had.
Wow.
And I went there and I talked to them, and they was like, they told me, they was like, oh, well, the waiting list is this and this, that, and the third. And I went from hope to, oh my God, not again. I was just so sad. Like, oh my God. And the lady told me, she said, wait a minute. Her name was Miss Deborah, I think. She said, wait a minute. She left out the room, and she called 2 other women in the room. And she said, y'all feel this? And they was like, oh my God. And I was just like looking around. What are you feeling? What you feeling? So she said, y'all feel this? I said, I don't know what they feeling. She was like, Rabiyah, God is telling us we have to do it, and we're going to do it. We have a place available ready for you, and you can move in next week. I always did not know where my faith was. I knew that I was special. I knew of a higher power, but I was brought up as Muslim. I also knew that everything was, my whole thing was just like, how could God do this to my mom? How could God have me on the streets? How could God do this? And I lost faith. I lost faith. But then I started gaining my faith back when I seen how things was happening for me.
Wow.
When they put me into that home. When they put me into that apartment, it was the best thing ever. Got my daughter in school, found my son a daycare. And I started working a job, and it was at the MTA. It was one of my first jobs, and it was like pretty cool. I was a receptionist. I was like, okay, I'm doing good things. And then after a little while, I had started saying that I wanted to get out. I wanted to just move away. I said, there's just too many bad things happening here in Maryland. I said, it's just not right. I just got to go.
Yeah.
And we went to, one day my daughter told me that my son was being abused at the daycare center. My heart dropped because I'm like, why do people keep effing with me?
Right,
Like, that's what I was.
Yeah.
I was horrible then. So just, I was cussing and everything. I was cussing everybody out. And when she told me that, I knew something had to be wrong because every time he would come home, I would get rid of a diaper rash. And then it'll come back. I mean, it wasn't just a diaper rash. I mean, his skin was open. It stunk down there because his meat was showing. He would cry because it was burning. And I said, why do you keep getting these diaper rashes? When she told me that, I called my brother. And my brother Armin, and I told him, I said, hey, take me down here. We went down there. And I walked now. Mind you, every morning, that's what I did. I walked to her every morning. Now, this woman lived about 3 miles now. And I walk there every morning. I'll drop her off to school, and I'll go down there, and then I'll get on the bus, and I'll go downtown, and I'll do this every single day. And I got to that door, and I went off. Now, you would have thought that I was whole, like Tyson or something. This woman was a big white woman, just tall, stood over top of me. I didn't care. I'm ready to fight her. And it was her mother who was the daycare provider. But later on, I found out it was her who I needed to been trying to fight. So she kept on, no, get away, pushing away. My arm, it was just like, you better not touch her. I'm going to stand here. Y'all better not touch her. But I was ready to, oh my goodness. I couldn't get to her. I could not get to the woman. And I left. I said, nope, no more. Done. I'm done with Maryland. I'm done with people. I hate it. I hate people. Like, life is just stupid. I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I got accepted into one of my girlfriend Pam. She actually was like, Bea, you say you want to leave. Just go. I got accepted into a school called International Academy of Design and Technology. It was in Florida. I had no money in my pocket, but whatever the job was paying me at that time, they wasn't paying nothing but what? $10 an hour. That was nothing.
Yeah.
If it was $8, I don't know. It was in the 90s. Well, no, 2000. So, because I just had my son. So, I was just, I was like, yep, I'm leaving. The school accepted me. I called everybody in Florida. I'm just trying to get housing and different things together. I had no money in my pocket, and everybody told me no. No, girl, you can't just come down here with 2 children and go to school and you don't have no money. Are you crazy? I'm just like, oh, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Whether you say I'm going to do it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find a way.
Right.
And that was that. So the time had came. It was a year up. And the people told me, hey, your year's up in this apartment. We need you to, oh, God, I'm turning this key, and we'll give you a new key. This is the key to your new apartment. I'm on the phone with everybody I'm asking for people to co-sign and this, that, and the third. Everybody telling me no. I got no loans. I got accepted into the school, but I got no loans, no grants, no scholarships, nothing. Everybody kept saying no. If no, well, man, I could have made a song out of it. How many no's? Everybody no. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's cool. So I went to the rental office, and I still packed my stuff up because I was going to leave with the little bit of money I had in my pocket, which was at that time, I believe it was $280. And I went over to the rental office, and they was just like, I had a rental car and everything because I'm leaving. I don't care. I'm leaving. Go over to the rental office. The rental office tells me, oh, yeah, here's your new key. And then I was just like, here's your lease. You can sign the lease. I said, no, thank you. They said, what do you mean? I said, no. I'm not doing it. And then it was just like, but you have nowhere to go. I said, but I do. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm going to be okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I went back across the street and I kept packing. I went to the closet. I found $20. That was like I won $1 million that day. $20, girl, got $300. I was on point. I was so excited. Then I go to the kitchen. I got a phone call. Hey, Miss Jordan, how are you today? One of your friends called and co-signed. You got approved for the apartment. Your house will be ready in 2 weeks. I said, dang, I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, look, I'm so excited. I was so excited. Everything that was in that apartment, I left it. And I just took my kids, a TV, and my baby brother Wally, he went with me because he helped me take care of the kids. And I had my father and my stepmom who drove me down there. And as we walking down there, and I said, you know what, I need to check this mailbox because I'm not going to be back here to check a mailbox. So I went down there, checked the mailbox, and I got grants and scholarships and loans and grants. And it was stacked up. I said, oh my God.
Wow.
Look at God.
And I'm still nervous. Y'all just like biting my
Yeah.
fingers. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so scared. I'm riding and we get in the car and I'm like, man, are you ready for this? Like, babe, what you gonna do when you get there? I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna get a hotel. You know, at that time it was like $30, so that should be cool. I got $300. What about food? I didn't know. I didn't care. I was leaving, and I did. So I'm driving down, and then I get a phone call, and the lady from the school, I remember her. Her name was Portia, and Portia said, "Girl, you're crazy." She said, "You're crazy as hell." She said, "But I'm going to help you out." She said, "It's a girl down here that I helped her out with her children because she did almost similar the same things that you did." She said, "Not quite, but she did similar the same thing you did." And she said, and I talked to her and I told her about you, and she said that you can live with her and her 2 kids until you find your apartment. I got that phone call as I'm going through the Carolinas. I'm driving through the Carolinas right before I get to all of the Georgias and stuff like that. And I said, oh, my God. And I told my dad and them, I said, look, I'm not. And they said, what?
Wow.
Go live at her house with her. And the house was actually ready sooner than later. And they called me and they told me. And she helped me out with my kids. Me and her are like the best of friends till this day. It's my sweetheart. That's my sister. Love her to pieces, Marcy. I love you, Marcy. She made sure she helped me out with food and everything. Then we got an apartment. Her apartment was right here. My apartment was right next door to her apartment. And the rent, they was like, okay, well, the rent is going to be prorated. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I got to ask my brother and them for money because I don't really have any money for rent. Prorate rent was $300 freaking dollars.
$300?
$300 is all I
Exactly
had
what
in
you
my
had.
pocket anyway.
Wow.
Started going to school, loving life, doing everything I had to do. It was good. Started getting jobs. At that time, I was making like 20 something an hour. Got my first car, just living it up, just loving life, you know. And graduated with my associates. I was like, I don't know if I want to continue on with fashion because my background is in fashion design and marketing. And I said, you know what? I'm done with Florida. I moved to California. Clothes on my back, sold all of my stuff, and I moved. And that's what I did. And once I got out there to California, things just started happening. I just started, like, life just started being beautiful. My daughter was doing so amazing with singing. I know she told you about that story with her singing, and we was always on auditions and so many. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people, shows and people we have met there, and just so many great things that was happening for us. I was working. I was just getting these major bonuses. It was just so much money just coming in, and then I started dating a guy, and I talked about him a little bit. And it was the guy. He wasn't a bad guy, but I feel like back then, the situation with that back then is he just didn't. He was young just as much as I was.
Yeah.
You know, and he has his own story.
Yeah.
But he was angry to me. It seems like he just was. He was drinking something away. I don't know what it was. I don't know what the situation was, and maybe it's just something that he brought up. He was brought up with and he's seen. But we we call ourselves, I mean, I loved him. I really did love him.
Yeah.
And I know he loved me. It was just that he was just abusing himself. And sometimes he would just be so freaking mean. And I knew that before I moved in with him. And I just was like, why am I doing this? Like, I knew I'm moving in with this man, and I feel like I love this man, and it's time like at 30s, and I'm just like, well, maybe it's because, am I afraid of being alone? He's showing me this, but then he's lacking here, and maybe I should just, stay and figure things out. But I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy at all. And then he just would do just things that was just downright just disgusting. Just turn the music up loud when I was in a home, or just it was so many things, and I don't even want to. It was disgusting. He just did a lot of things, but he also was a good person. We would have a lot of fun together. We would travel together. We would go to the beach, and we loved nature and all those things. So I thought all those things was great, but he was selfish. That's what it was. He was that word selfish. He was selfish as hell. It was his world, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. You split this. This is my food on this side. This is your food. That's my soap. That's your soap. It was segregated. When you're in a good mood, you're taking on my kids, and we doing this and we doing that. So that was that, and I finally got out of that situation. I spoke about that a little bit before I got out of that situation, and that was the best thing that could have happened. Then as I started, as I started in that situation when I was with him, and as you see, you've never heard me say when I took a pause in this story, did you? From the time I was a child until then, I'm still moving over and over and over again. I'm moving.
Yeah.
I'm moving. I'm just in and out of parties, in and out of clubs, in and out of this, in and out of that, just moving around, just having fun, just doing what I wanted to do. And then I just never stopped to think, like, girl, what did you doing with your life? What's about to happen here? So after he actually that door did close for me. And at that time, I started getting sick. And as I started getting sick, I started realizing more. Like, life was just really, it was hard, especially with taking care of 2 children and trying to be mommy. And I'm only speeding up the story because I have a long story. But it was hard. It was really, really hard. And one thing that I can definitely say, when I had gotten sick, now this is the moment, and this is the reason why the business has started. Peaceful Healing started because of sickness. When I gotten sick, I had time to see what I was doing, where I was lacking. I got to see my life flash before my eyes. I started realizing that, girl, you are a special soul, and you were sent here for a reason, and you have to live in your purpose. And if you continue to do what you are doing, you are going to kill yourself. And when I gotten sick, my first time going into a coma, I cannot tell you, the sickness was, I had sarcoidosis. Not only did I have sarcoidosis, I became a type 1 diabetic. Not only was I type 1 diabetic, all of this stuff was happening. I went into a coma because I had a staph infection. Poison just went through my body and went to my brain. I became incoherent. I was in a coma. Maybe like 3 days, but it's like I was kind of like in and out, like I couldn't remember a lot of things. I didn't know a lot of things. This one here, of course, always saving me. She saved my life. In a doctor's office, in an emergency room, not no doctor's office, and they said, what's this on her back? And it was this thing is just big. It was just like big, and it was like poison coming out of it. And I woke up. After that time, I woke up, and doctors coming in there, nurses coming in there, people coming in there, looking in my room, peeking like this girl was still alive. Got out of the hospital because I knew I had to live. I wanted to see my grandson. I just wanted to see my grandson. I just knew I wanted to see my grandson. My daughter was pregnant. I wanted to see him, and I didn't want to die, and I was okay with God just let me see him and dying. I was okay with that, but God said, "Girl, you ain't going nowhere. I have a plan for you.
Yeah.
You just don't know what the plan is. I just needed to calm you down, sit you down, so you could figure things out. So now we're going to go here from here." So in the sickness, I started living. I started seeing, and I started actually putting this blinder on that I did for many, many years. And girl, you have been special for years, and you keep acting like you're not because you want to fit in with people who you don't need to fit in with. You don't need to. You're fitting in with everybody. But why? I made you special. I made you different. I made you as an individual. And you need to live your purpose. But you're not living it because you're too busy catering to everything and everybody.
Yeah.
And when that happened, and I started saying that, I started hearing the birds chirping louder. The water sounds is beyond loud. It was like meditation all the time, loudness all the time of just nothing but beauty. I started seeing, I've always seen people. Let me share that with you. I've always seen people, and I can tell you this one particular time. I was, and just to saying, I started seeing things, and this is in the midst of the sickness. And I seen this. I was out there in Hollywood. I'm partying, having fun, and it was just like just having a blast, you know. And because out there with some of my girlfriends, and we at this club, and as I'm going to the club, everything in me like, this is not it for you, B. This not it. And I'm like, I'm going to go in there because my girl, I drove all the way out here. I'm going to go in there and everything. I look at the address, 666, girl, this ain't it for you, girl. Don't turn around. Did not turn around, went in there, got in there. I felt like this. I was stiff. I felt scared. Then I seen there was these 3 white women. They was doing like, it was just like it was so weird. And I sat there and I stared at them, and when they looked at me back, I froze up. That was the first time I seen 3 devils.
Wow.
It was damn near horns coming out their heads. It was scary as hell. I told my girlfriends, gotta go. That place.
Got to get out of here.
And I would see it, in people. I see it in people a lot. I see people. I don't like to say it, but I see it. I see a lot of things, and I ignore it. And so at that time, I said, okay, now it's time for you to start. You have to start. You have to start healing. You have to start doing these things because I sent you here for a purpose. So as I'm going to end my story there, but what I will say is this: in the sickness, as I started coming out of that sickness, because that's a long time of me coming out of that sickness.
Yeah.
I could just tell you, I gotten very, very, very sick, very skinny. I went to like 120 pounds. I couldn't hold my bowels. I couldn't hold my pee. I couldn't eat. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. I had to have my son hold me up all the time because I became a skeleton. But I started living. So that's when I stopped beating myself up and stopped blaming the world for every single thing. And I started taking a look in the mirror, and I looked at myself like, yeah, your mom passed away. But that doesn't mean that you had to do all the things that you did out of anger. You were so pissed off at the world that you were hurting yourself in every way, shape, or form. You kept dating the same man in different bodies over and over and over again because you're looking for what? And I know what I was looking for. I was looking for love. I never experienced the love that my mother have ever given me. And only a certain people today give me that love, because everybody else love comes with condition. Everybody love comes with, not everybody, but a lot of people that I came across, love came with conditions.
Wow.
And that's when I knew, you got to save this world. You got to save as many people as you can. And I knew in that sickness, oh yeah, they trying to take you out because you got something to say. You got something to say, and that's the truth. And
you got something to say.
I have a lot to say, and I see a lot. And all I need you to do is just listen. Because I'm not telling you anything that I've never been through. I'm shown things, I see things, and my children know things. They know things. She's the one who told me I was pregnant with my son. She told me he was a boy. She told me everything. I see it. However, it's broadcasted now, but I don't say it much. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to end it there.
Wow.
I had a long life. I had a long life.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I have so many questions. Like, first of all, so proud of you. And
so
I just want, and I already know how amazing you are. You are
Thank
just
you.
so amazing, so resilient. Like, I've never met anybody like you.
Wow.
And I'm honored to have the relationship that we have. But you're welcome. I guess, how did you keep going? Like you said, you didn't really have the faith. You weren't super religious. So what do you think it was? Like, do you even know?
I know it was the Most High for me.
Yeah.
I only kept going because of strength. I just knew I could never let my children down, and that's who I live for. That's all I live for. I never lived for myself.
But even before where did your
Before
strength come
before
from?
all of that, it was just that I knew I never wanted to be just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I felt like I just felt like I didn't want to be like everybody else. But honestly, if you really want to know, I always feel like it was my angels who kept my strength. Because it was times, believe me, I had suicidal thoughts, and I actually tried quite a few times.
That's what I was going to ask too. Yeah.
I did. I actually was getting ready to drive my car straight off that cliff right out there in California. Yes, I was. Right off of the 134. I didn't want to live no more. And it was always angels who said, girl. You know, I always say, girl, like, that's how they know, but they keep me.
You always had that voice in your head.
Always.
Wow.
I got you. You're going to be okay. Just be patient.
Wow.
And that's no human being could have ever done what the angels have ever done for me.
Yeah.
They are sent here through humans. They do. I have earth angels for sure. I may be over some people's head, but I do.
Yeah.
We all do.
We do.
What age were you in the shelter? Because I do remember this. Like, I remember a lot of my childhood, like early on.
Yeah.
So I remember the shelter and all that. But what age were you in the shelter?
I see. If I had your brother at 23, I had you at 19. I got pregnant. No, I had you at 18. So I was like 22, 23.
23 years old.
23.
In the shelter.
Yeah.
Taking me to school, Kevin to daycare, going to work, all at 23, living, like, doing that.
Yes.
And that's, and I mean, I guess we can keep asking you, how did
It's
you,
just like, how, you know?
how did you have that motivation? Because
And she didn't have anybody either.
She didn't have anybody.
Did it
She
by
had
herself.
angels here and there. God would place people in her life.
Right.
Like certain
Yes.
family members, certain friends.
Yeah.
But in order to keep going like that, that's how you know that you are so blessed and highly favored, because there was something within you that didn't allow for you to stop. There was something that was within you and around you and protecting you that couldn't allow it, and you felt it intuitively, and you've always been special.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably why God got frustrated in California when he's like, look,
Sit your butt down.
why are you not? And it's like, you know, because you were doing fashion and designing and marketing. You were doing everything and all good things. But after peaceful healing, I mean, after your sickness is when peaceful healing started.
Yes. And I told you that came in a dream. I did say that.
No, you didn't tell them that.
That was a dream. Actually, the name Peaceful Healing came to me in a dream at 1:51 a.m. And everything that Peaceful Healing is about is positive energy, positive vibration, positive thoughts, sitting in silence, listening, closing the windows of the door, windows and the doors of the outside world, and becoming one with self. It was all told to me. And I wrote it down. And then one day I kind of wrote it down like a crazy lady, just like scripting, like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this? And I had that. I did that. And then I started writing it out. And then I told my daughter, I said, I'm supposed to go out into nature and I'm supposed to talk to people. To be honest with you, I'm going to tell you something. Every peaceful healing that every peaceful healing class that I had from the beginning, I don't come up with my classes, and I have not came up with my classes. It's definitely, and it's all in divine
Timing.
Divineness, really.
It comes from the divine.
It doesn't come from me. I've never taught a class that I just came up with. I have never taught a class in the years that I had it since 2018 that I have came up with. But the one thing that I did learn from peaceful healing, because I learned how I had to start healing myself, but I also had to take a step back and I had to look within. So when I closed those doors from that outside world and I started becoming one with self and I started sitting in silence, I thought sitting in silence meant like don't close the doors and turn off the TV.
Right.
Oh no. Oh no. The Most High God speaks to you in silence.
Say that
I
again.
say he speaks
Oh
to
my
you
God.
in silence. You have to silence. It's loud. The silence isn't quiet. People tell you that they crazy. It's not. It's not silence. And I got everything from there. So I started becoming higher and higher and higher and higher, and just the awakening just started coming, and the transitioning and the. Oh my God! It was just like a whole powerful being. It was a rebirth.
Yeah.
The old me had to die so the new me can come back and do what I had to do on the face of this earth. And I
Yes.
know that for a fact.
Yes.
Because when that girl died, it was no more hate, anger, and pain. It was none of that. And the crazy part about it is I always led with love. I always led with love. So it's one of those things that my personal code of ethics are love, for me, respect and integrity.
Wow.
Lead with them, you got me.
Then you got it.
And the reason why I am still single is because I will not allow for me to be just dumbed down and just be like, oh, well, that's just how it is. No, you got to be powerful like me.
Yeah.
We got to be
Gotta be
powerful.
aligned.
We got to be aligned.
Yeah.
Aligned. You
gotta
have
do the work.
Yeah.
If you ain't did the work, then we cannot be.
Yeah.
And last thing, and I know we probably got to wrap up soon, but you when did you had a lot of people to forgive?
Yeah.
You had a lot of people to forgive
That are still in your life today.
Yeah.
That you give so much love to.
that you
Yes.
pour into.
We see it.
Yeah.
How well, and when did you forgive them? Like what age or just like what point in your life, and how did you forgive these people?
The age, honestly, was older. That was like when I wrote my first book in 2018. I started truly forgiving them about 2020 something.
Wow.
It took a lot of writing, and it took a lot of. But I also, the one major thing that I did, I heard that side of the story. It's important to hear the other person's side of the story. Even though they're doing things to you that are not right, when you hear a person's background, where they came from, how they lived, who did what to them, they chose to do the bad. I chose out of everything that happened with me to do it to
To be good.
We have a choice. You chose that, not me. So I understand where you've been through, but it's not right what you did. But I forgive you because that's how you knew how to do it. It's just I knew no matter what, the one thing my mom taught me before she left this earth was to love and be positive.
Empathetic.
That's exactly what she taught me.
Wow.
And that's how I always led because that's what I was taught. I wasn't taught that from my dad. I was taught that from my mom.
Wow.
Wow.
And she died many years ago. And so the reason why I am the way I am with you guys today is because of that.
Wow.
Gotta lead with love.
Yeah.
You'll have nothing else. But I had to forgive them once I learned who they are. And I seen what they did in their background and stuff like that. And a lot of people are still hurt and broke today. But I refuse to be that person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be her.
Wow. This
That's
was
so amazing.
good.
Yes.
This was really, really
This was amazing.
good.
Wow.
A lot of people are going to get so much from this
I
episode.
pray they do.
They will.
Yes.
And just even when Naya told her story,
Yes, Naya's
like
story
just
was
hearing it,
powerful.
when you telling your story, just hearing it, and y'all are in my life, but to hear it from beginning to end,
Yes.
it's just like, wow.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
there are things that your daughter doesn't even know
Right.
Yeah.
where your mindset was,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
This was amazing. You are so brave for telling your story.
So
Thank you
brave.
so
So
much
strong.
Thank you.
for telling your story.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I just have to say, I want to, thank everyone for listening. Number one, and tuning in. But I also want you to just start your process.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's that person, it's so crazy. I forgot to say, and I know it's time. Time is up. But my daughter was my angel on earth, and she is always who I actually admired and was inspired by.
Wow.
Through all this time. I had to birth her. I had to birth my best friend. I had to birth my friend. I had to birth my everything. She came from me, and I've always admired her.
Wow.
She's the one who showed me that love from a man, it can be real.
Mm-hmm.
She showed me that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
I
why
love you, Mama.
That's
settle.
beautiful.
It's my bestie.
Aww.
It's my bestie.
I go like this.
my crippled hands right now.
So cute.
Yes.
But we need to do a Q&A session as well. 'Cause
Yes.
I still got so many questions. I know y'all are going to have a lot of questions.
Yes.
So just like Nia's is coming up.
Yes, Q&A for Naya.
Well, actually, by the time they're seeing this, Nia's
week.
Nia's would already be
It would
out.
have already been out. Yeah.
But we're also going to do a Q&A for Miss Rabiyah Jordan.
Yes.
But yes,
Yes.
thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that. And we'll see you on the next video.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and follow us on all social media platforms.